Oh, I forgot to shut the door. Now, here's the thing. Do I want to get up and walk all the way over there to shut the door? Not particularly. You're just going to have to deal with this entire video with the door being open. Whoa! What's on the other side of that other door? It could be the entrance to a lost civilization. Atlantis, perhaps. Or maybe just my laundry room. Whoa! Okay, so I have no idea what I don't know how this is going to go today, but here's the premise of today's video. So in the SBS we just had for volume 111. God, volume 111 already. That makes me feel old for Oda. I'm sure Oda was writing it out and he was like, whoa, volume 111 already. Jeez. Anyway. There was a question that was asking Oda if he could have 2 devil fruits a la Blackbeard, which 2 would he select? And of course, Oda being Oda, well, first of all, he picked 4, not 2. He picked the clear fruit, the clear fruit, the clear fruit, and to top it all off with the warp fruit. By the way, I would probably pick the warp fruit too because it's teleportation, and I love teleportation-based abilities, right? But it was a joke that Oda kind of did. Like, I want the invisibility fruit 3 times, right? But I got a lot of comments asking me to like do various other devil fruit combinations. That kind of got me like, oh yeah, like just take every devil fruit in the story, randomly generate one and then another one, and talk about how that ability could go. So like if everybody was Blackbeard and had the ability to absorb 2 devil fruit powers at one time, what would it be like? Okay, so we're gonna do that today. I have a list of every single canon devil fruit all the way up to Gunko's Arrow no Mi. I actually did not include Killingham's Kieran fruit. I guess we don't know that much about it, but yeah, his is not on here, but everybody else's is on here that's canon. And I'm just going to roll this a few times, and we're going to have a combination of a devil fruit power. I guess I'll talk about what the ability is, and I guess like we'll have 2 individuals that had the abilities, maybe which one would be better suited for this combined ability, or maybe there's another character in One Piece that would be really, well suited for it, and you can let me know about that down below as well. Like, oh, this combination would really work for this particular character, something of that nature. Yeah, let's just give it a go. This is the same randomizer I use for the tournaments. So what is our first devil fruit? We have the Rumble fruits. That's Eneru's. That's the Goro no Mi. It's not called the Lightning fruit or the Shock fruit. It's the Rumble fruit. Okay, so we have Eneru's Goro starting off strong with a Logia. And his fruit power is going to be combined with, I hope it's the jacket fruit. I hope the jacket fruit comes up today. The brain fruit. Oh, okay. No, wait, we can have fun with this. Okay, no, this could be good. This could be good. All right. The Lightning Logia combined with Vegapunk's brain fruit, okay? Well, the brain communicates through your entire body through a series of electrical signals. The brain itself, electrical signals and chemicals as well. Chemical, electrical processes buzzing around in your brain, right? You amp that up to 11 with the Goro no Mi? Oh my god, you could probably unlock some psionic power with that, right? Now remember, Vegapunk's brain fruit does not automatically make him a genius. That's not the reason he's a really smart guy. He was always a genius. What the brain fruit does is basically give you infinite storage space. It basically just gives you like a perfect photographic memory and the ability to store things, ad infinitum, and your brain keeps getting bigger and bigger to accommodate for this size. So when you really think about it that way, the brain fruit is only really useful in the hands of a super genius like Vegapunk. Anybody else gets it, your brain might expand a little bit, but probably not all that much, right? So yeah, though, but considering the fact the more you learn and it makes your brain bigger, there would be more electrical signals buzzing around, you amplify that with the Goro no Mi. You might just essentially become like a psychic. You might just become like not just a regular psychic that's like, I can see your future. No, I'm talking like Mob Psycho psychic. I'm talking about Shigeo from Mob Psycho 100. Like you could probably start like telepathically like lift things up and throw stuff around and stuff like that because it's like highly amplified and all that, like combining psionic abilities with lightning abilities. You would still be able to do all the stuff with the Goro no Mi. You'd still be able to turn into electricity and all that. like I'm trying to picture this in a way that like I guess Vegapunk would definitely be better suited for this than Eneru. I don't see Eneru. Eneru would like, his head would expand as well with the brain fruit, but it would just expand with his ego. I feel like he would just be like, ah yes, I am truly the god of Skypiea and all of Blue Planet, yes. And his head would swell up, but in a completely different way than Vegapunk's. Vegapunk would definitely take advantage of this. And Vegapunk's whole idea is he wants to create the internet, right? He wants to have punk records to connect to the entire world. If he was able to combine the brain fruit with the Goro no Mi, you probably don't even need to really do much beyond that, right? Like the whole idea with Eneru's mantra, the reason his observation hockey was so good was because he was essentially amplifying it with the electricity, the waves coming off of him, okay? He was basically turning himself into a giant like radio tower or something like that. He was able to pick up stuff because of his devil fruit amplifying his hockey. This would essentially Vegapunk's brain, punk records, combined with this, the entire world would be covered in like, you know, the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. He would basically be able to add Wi-Fi to the entire planet, connecting everybody immediately, wirelessly, to punk records. This could achieve Vegapunk's dream. All he needs to do is figure out how to synthesize a Logia, and he's good. Like, he's set. That's all you gotta do. You know what's interesting? All of the devil fruit talk that we had with Vegapunk during Egghead, not as much as I think a lot of us wanted to have. We wanted to have more discussions with devil fruits, but kind of stuff was insane going on there with Cypher Pole Zero and then the Gorosei showing up and everything like that. A Buster Call kind of tends to distract you. However, it's interesting Vegapunk never brought up the two devil fruit thing. You know, you think at least, like, somebody would have brought up, it's like, hey, how come Blackbeard is able to have two of these? You know, like, and Vegapunk would have been like, Quasar, I'm not sure. He breaks all of the rules. He's Blackbeard. You know, it's like, whatever. But it's interesting, because, like, none of the Seraphim have multiple devil fruits. That seems to be an ironclad rule, even when synthesizing devil fruits. Like, what would happen if he took two different samples of green blood? What happens if he took the Supa no Mi, the dice fruit that he gave S Hawk, and let's say the swim fruit green blood that was synthesized with S Shark? What happens if he tried to make a new Seraphim introducing both of those types of green blood into the same body? Would the body just explode? Would it reject the blood? These are things we didn't really find out about. So I'm assuming since we didn't see Vegapunk, you know, none of the Seraphim were able to do that and everything, so I'm assuming it's still impossible. So he mentioned he can't synthesize Logias. They're very difficult, and apparently it's still just one devil fruit per customer kind of thing. But man, yeah, Goro no Mi and the brain fruit. I think that's pretty damn cool. Now let me know below what you think about this combination, who would be best suited for it. I'm still really thinking Vegapunk on this one, and what you could really achieve combining lightning with the brain fruit. Okay, so that was fun. That, like, immediately I was like, wait, you could do stuff with that. You enter the computer. All right, so now what's our next combination here? Let's keep this rolling. We have okay, that's the Pika no Mi. Right, that's Kizaru's. Okay, so we have another Logia. We have the light fruit. This would be funny if we're just combining Logias with other Paramecia abilities and see how broken they can be. The light fruit combined with... We already did. Really? Out of every single... Okay, fine. You could turn into light and you could turn into lightning. That one's just busted broken at that point. I mean, it's kind of redundant, too, because light travels faster than lightning. So, yeah, I mean, like, just, you're crazy powerful. I'm going to re-roll that again. I'm going to do another one instead of the Rumble fruit. All the devil fruits in the story, and it just really loves Eneru's. Okay, we'll do this again. The Pika no Mi with... the Gro fruit. That's the new one. That's the one Biblo uses, the owl in the library. The ability to take inanimate objects and make them bigger, combined with the light fruit. Okay, so this is one that I really don't think would have a lot of applications. All right, like, and that's the whole idea of this. I'm not really sure if this video was gonna work or not. You know, like the lightning fruit and the brain fruit, you could do stuff with this. But okay, so you take an object and you're able to make that object bigger by a certain level of, like, magnification, I guess, you know, or multiplication, I suppose. I guess Biblo is the one that ultimately is the arbiter of how bigger these objects become. So they're perfectly, like, they expand books to the point where giants can read them. I'm assuming Biblo can make the books even bigger, or not, like slightly smaller. Like, it doesn't have to be that size exactly. Can kind of be whatever Biblo wants it to be, I would assume. So you can make objects bigger, and you can also control light and turn into light and do all that stuff and phase through matter and everything like that. Like, in that point, I really think the Pika Pika no Mi would just kind of subsume this ability. This would be more of like a supplemental thing, like you can just do on the side. I mean, I suppose you can make objects really big and then charge them up with your light and then throw them at you at like light speed. That would be crazy. Like, I'm going to pick up a rock and make the rock bigger and then throw it at you at the speed of light. Like, that would be really busted broken. But you could also just fire lasers and shit, right? So, like, you don't really need to go the extra mile with that, but I guess it would be something to have. But yeah, that one I'm not really sure about. I'm just going to move on from that one. We're going to try another combination. If I don't think I have much to say about it, then I'll just move on. But yeah, that's why this is kind of we're kind of testing out new waters here. Okay, this is the elephant fruit model mammoth. Okay, so this is Jack's fruit. Okay, so this is our first Zoan that we get here. Okay, so you have the ability to turn into a mammoth, and you get the pawpaw fruit, which is Kuma's. Okay, you basically have a mammoth stomping on the ground and then launching itself like 5 miles into the atmosphere. But, oh, you know what could be a devastating attack with that? Launch himself into the air with that ability. Then, while he's in the air, you have that soundtrack play when, like, Kuma is charging the Urusasa shock, like, daunt, 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 daunt. So, you have Jack at Zoe, like, where is Raizo? And all of the minks are like, he's not here. We don't know what you're doing. Please stop trying to kill us, you know? And then Jack is like, all right, you brought this upon yourselves. And then he just launches himself into the sky. And all the minks are like, what did he just do? Where did he go? And then he's just a mammoth floating in the sky, staring down at Zunisha. And it's like, boom, 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 and he just sends down an entire, like, air raid of just a bunch of paws of Urusasa shocks just launching down on Zoe with all 4 of his legs just pumping, just going for it, right? And it's just bombarding the top of Zunisha, completely leveling all of Zoe. That's a pretty powerful ability, I'd say. That's pretty busted. And he could also just go into his hybrid and just send people flying around just like Kuma. But, like, yeah, combining, like, big, giant, tough, like, 7-ton mammoth with the pawpaw fruit, allowing it to, like, move around a little easier. There you go. That's something interesting. All right, that's something. All right, what's next? What do we have next? The Twinkle Twinkle fruit. I'm not used to it being called that. I think the Kira no Mi. It has nothing to do with Death Note. I am Kira. No, it's Jozu's fruit. It's the diamond fruit. Okay, I've just never heard it be called the Twinkle Twinkle fruit before. I guess that's the English version. But yeah, it's Jozu's diamond fruit. It is a paramecia. It's not a Logia. We see Jozu, Marineford, able to turn into diamonds. And from what we understand so far, pretty much like the hardest material in One Piece. Like, remember, well, not the hardest, because you also have, you know, Sea Prism Stone, but Sea Prism is also compared to Diamond a lot. And I know, like, in the real world, Diamond can't be scratched, but it can still be shattered. Like, in the context of One Piece, Diamond and Sea Prism are, like, the hardest. Like, you can't break them. Like, that's the idea, right? The way that Aokiji was able to defeat Jozu was froze him solid, and then his arm, like, cracked off, like, at that point, right? But from what it seems like, he was even able to block Mihawk's attack. So from the idea is using the ability to turn into Diamond, no swordsman is going to be able to cut you in that form. Even Mihawk wasn't really able to. Now, does that mean that Mihawk would be completely unable to? Because we never really saw a straight-up fight, but, you know, maybe, who knows. So you can turn into diamonds, and you can also... Oh, Diamond Venom. Okay, so the poison or the venom fruit combined with the diamond fruit. There is... Wow. That is, I don't know if you understand how devastating that would actually be. That would actually take away most of Magellan's weaknesses, to be honest with you. Because the idea is Magellan, he's able to secrete all this poison, right? And yes, the idea is that he's not turning into the poison. He doesn't really have hockey. So Luffy was still able to hit him. Now, when you're doing that, you're also going to get poison covering your body, and that's how Luffy was ultimately defeated by him. But he was still able to, like, bring Magellan to his knees. He was still able to use, like, a jet bazooka. It still hit Magellan, and he's like, oh, no. And he got knocked to the ground, but Luffy's arms were, like, sizzling by the end of it. Like, now imagine if Magellan's entire body was hard as diamond, and he was still secreting the venom on top of all of the diamond armor. He had poison diamond armor. All right, so now he's basically nigh indestructible. He essentially has like a cheat code turned on where he's constantly outputting damage, and he's invulnerable. He just can't be hurt. So he's just stomping through Impel Down. Luffy's trying to hit him. Every single time he hits him, it's hurting Luffy more because he's literally punching a solid wall of diamond. Meanwhile, he's still getting covered in venom. And Magellan's still able to, like, spew out, like, chlorine gas and everything around him. I just did a video on the Venom fruit not long ago. So all the same stuff is happening, except Magellan's just taking 0 damage from any attack. And, we know that Jozu was able to maintain his mobility. That's kind of Jozu's whole thing, is he turns into Diamond and just rams you like a quarterback, right? Like, that's kind of the whole idea there. So, like, really, I would say Magellan 100%. I mean, Jozu could definitely make use of this as well, but Magellan is way more suited to the versatility of the Venom fruit, and the Twinkle Twinkle fruit, the diamond fruit, that would just serve to boost his defense to insane levels. This is like, this gives me the idea of like multi-classing in D&D, figuring out some combination of multi-class that just makes your character broken as shit. That would be this right there, because I'm trying to think of like any other major disadvantage that Magellan has other than the fact he has constant chronic diarrhea, right? Other than his IBS, I don't know any other major disadvantages. You could say hockey, but this kind of covers that, all right? So yeah, this would make Magellan incredibly busted. This is a good combo. This would be a good combination for sure. Okay, what do we have next? We have the Magu no Mi. So this is the magma fruit, okay? And that is used by, of course, Akainu. Really preferring the Logias here, considering there's not that many. There's so many devil fruits on this list that are Paramecia, but it's really preferring the Logias. The magma fruit and, the dog fruit model Dalmatian. That actually works. Akainu needs to have this. Akainu is literally red dog, all right? That is literally what it means. So that's his code name. So sorry, Dalmatian, you don't get this one. Akainu has this ability. He already has techniques that turn the magma into dogs, like the face of a dog while he, like, attacks you, right? He's the guard dog of Marie-Joie. When he fought against Kuma, you could kind of look at it like this. I really don't have much to say because, honestly, like I said, it's just, like, straightforward. It's like with the Pika no Mi combined with the Gro fruit, that kind of just one subsumes the other. This is really just more for aesthetic for Akainu. Like, Akainu is like, I now have the ability to become a dog, and a little tear just rolls down Akainu's face. Just like, that's all I've ever wanted. And so Akainu turns into a Dalmatian, but is also made of magma. He really is a red dog, and he's able to go around and just amplify his magma abilities with more dog-themed attacks. Claw, or he wags his tail and sends out a whip of magma or something like that, right? He charges at the enemy really, really fast in his dog form, and then like a giant plume of magma covers him. He's like a rocket, like a torpedo, That would be insane. Just pierces the enemy straight through with the speed of an animal combined with the magma powers. That one is perfect for Akainu. That's absolutely ideal for him. I think he would really enjoy that. The ability to turn into a dog and use magma. All right, what else do we have next? A Logia? No, we have the time fruit. All right. So we have Toki's ability. Toki means time in Japanese. Yeah, it was like that. I don't think Oda really sat down very long to come up with that name. But anyway, yeah. So it's the ability that doesn't sound as broken as it sounds. The ability to control time. You can only go into the future. You can either send yourself into the future or other people into the future. I'm assuming you can control the amount of time because Toki was like, in 20 years, that's where I'm going to send you. So she understood like how to control the ability. Like I can send you 10 years or 20 years or whatever amount in the future that I want, but you can only travel into the future. And from what we understand, we didn't really spend that much time with Toki. Granted, maybe there was something else she could do with her ability, but that seems to be the only thing you can do. Can you see into the future without traveling into the future? Maybe. Maybe she did have some prophetic ability of like, okay, I'll say this much. She sent the scabbards 20 years into the future because I think she understood, like, no, this is when it's gonna happen. This is the moment that I'm certain that something's going to happen. So maybe a side effect of the fruit is she could kind of look in, like, what is the optimal time to send them? 15 years? No. 20? 25? No. 20? Oh, okay, like right around 20. Okay, I'll send them then. Maybe. I don't know, but that's what she did with it. Now, what combination is... I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll see. Okay, so you get the bug fruit model hornet. This is the pink hornet that one of the Tontadas had during Dressrosa. So you are a time-traveling hornet. Look, you could probably come up with a really cool premise for a manga about that, or some kind of video game where you play as a time-traveling bug or wasp or something. I don't really think there's much more to discuss this. Time wasp. I don't know, but I think that's all I have really there. Okay. The bind fruit. This is Hina's. This is Hina's ability. The cage fruit is another translation of this. The oro no mi, or the ori no mi. I made a video about this not long ago either. Okay, so let's see. The cage fruit combined with the mark fruit, which is Vanderdecken's. Okay. Now this one could have a really cool combo. Give it to Hina, not Vanderdecken. Okay, this is how this would work. She targets someone with her ability. She throws an object, whatever that object could be. It could be a knife. It could be anything. It could just be a cannonball, something that Hina has on her. Let's say it's a cannonball. She throws a cannonball. It locks onto the target, hits the target, and locks them up in a bunch of cages and steel beams and wires and stuff, and then they can't move. So it basically just gives Hina's ability a crazy amount of range, okay, which was one of her major disadvantages. There wasn't a lot of range with that, because the way the ori no mi worked is that somebody had to literally come up to her, and she had to, like, do a lariat, or do like some kind of like a clothesline to like trap them or punch them, or do something with martial arts in order to actually activate the ability to make the iron bars appear and trap them or lock them down or something. She did have that ability during Marineford where she was able to like stretch out her cages like a kimono and was able to like kind of ensnare people that way, but that also trapped a lot of the Marines in the process. Okay, so she had some range, but this would just give her infinite range basically, because that's kind of the whole point of Vanderdecken's ability. Once he has targeted you and you're locked on, so to speak, you can flee to the ends of the earth. The whatever you get thrown at you is going to eventually hit you until it like hits like a wall in the process, but it will eventually find you. It's like a heat-seeking missile kind of thing, right? So there are ways to avoid it, but it's really difficult. And Hina, I feel, would be way smarter at using this than Vanderdecken would be. I think she would come up with clever ways to use the target fruit than he ever did, and ultimately this would give her just crazy range. And I think, yeah, Hina would be the perfect user of this fruit. I think these would combine really well. Honestly, combining the target fruit with essentially any paramecia would just give it infinite range. So it's not specifically Hina's this would do really good on, but like, if a pirate was fleeing, she could use the ability and then it hits them and entraps them. Even if he ran like a mile away, it would still work. Okay, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty good. All right, I think we could do about one more, and let me know if this was fun. If you enjoyed this, I could do another one of these pretty easily, but never attempted this type of style of video before, so I have no idea if this is a good video or what. Plus that door is still open. Okay, last one. Let's see what we got. The cannon fruit. This is canon. I said every cannon fruit is on this. This is Urban's devil fruit. This is the cannon fruit. This is the one that he used at Egghead. It allows his like hat to become a cannon, and he carries like that brush to like, the cannon sponge to ram like a cannonball down his helmet or his hat and then launch it out of him. Your body becomes an artillery human essentially. So you could turn into a cannon. That's cool. And you can also, I'm gonna hope whatever else I roll here is a Logia or another paramecia that like coats the cannonballs with something and launches that. That's immediately what I'm thinking of here. The dice for... Oh, dude. So he basically just becomes like a shrapnel human. That's essentially what he becomes, okay? So he loads a cannonball, like let's say a normal cannonball, into his cannon. He fires it, and the cannonball just turns into just a bunch of blades or spikes or axe heads or knives or spikes sticking out of it or some kind of bladed weapon, and just slices and dices every single thing, plus an explosion factor from the cannon. So in normal terms, I think we actually have attempted to do this stuff before in war and stuff like that. I was down in Gettysburg last year, and I was at the museum, and they were showing us all sorts of different things and stuff they would cram in the artillery and the cannons to fire at the enemy and stuff like that. Like the stuff they would put in the casings and fire. They would shove like silverware in there sometimes to launch it. In One Piece anime fictional terms, you fire a cannonball that explodes but also slices things. That makes sense, and that would be truly devastating, just amplifying the destructive power. It does explosive damage and slicing damage. There you go. That's all you need there. In which case, I think I would probably, between the two, between Urban, who obviously specializes in the cannon aspect, but also Mr. One Daz Bones, who specializes in using the close-range martial arts style, I'm not really sure. I have a feeling, though, Mr. One is a pretty clever guy, and if he was given the extra range, he would still be able to be a devastating force to be reckoned with in close quarters combat like we saw with Zoro. And his ability actually does have some, range techniques as well that he was able to do, or rather just the wind pressure when he was using like Sparkling Daisy and he attacked Zoro. It like hit Zoro, he blocked it, but the building behind them got sliced apart from just the shockwaves and stuff. So I'm going to assume Mr. One would be better at using this than Urban, because Urban is just focused on like loading the cannons and firing it. Meanwhile, Mr. One is more well-rounded with all of his, sliced, I guess, with all of the different abilities and martial arts he has. So he could just turn his arm into a cannon, then just fire off a bunch of explosive swords. Explosive swords, ladies and gentlemen. That would be fun. That would be great. Okay. Well, I've been going for a little bit now, so I think I'm going to stop it right there. I think there were some interesting combinations there. There were some that were just kind of like the Pika Pika no Mi and the Grow fruit, or the Time fruit mixed with like a random hornet, insect zone. That's like whatever. That's not really going to add much. But a Kainu turning into a magma dog, the brain fruit combined with the electric fruit, and then this one having explosive slicing damage cannonballs. That's also really fun. All right. Well, anyway, let me know down below, and let me know about some other devil fruit combinations that you think would be pretty sick. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking signing out. I'm not shutting the door.